everybody. Welcome to another edition of Zeldis Buzz podcast. Today, I'm going to be walking folks through some trends that we're seeing just in general in the market research industry. 2023 was a busy year for us. It's a busy year for me. I went to quite a number of industry conferences and obviously, touched quite a number of research projects along the way. And I've put together just a couple of things that I've noticed as trends in the industry. My guess is some of you are seeing these as well. Would love to get your thoughts and comments on what I have to share. So the first one, and this is not going to surprise anybody, is AI, right? If you have gone to a market research conference in the last really 2 years, it's all you see. It's about, I find about 25% of conference content revolves around AI. Most vendors, suppliers in the industry are trying to find some way to pull AI into what they do. And we're seeing it pop up everywhere. A couple things. One, Zeldis Research. Our company has an official AI policy. I hope yours does too. And I hope your suppliers and vendors that you're working with do. You should be asking what that is. For example, one of our policies is we cannot use any AI tools with our clients' projects unless they give us written permission. And that is something that you should be asking of anyone you work with. I've heard horror stories about proprietary, confidential new concepts being dumped into ChatGPT, including branding, that then made its way out into the universe. So it's something you want to be thinking about. Obviously, anything to do with PII or respondent PII, you need to be extra cautious. That said, I am one of those people who's pretty positive, kind of bullish about what AI can do to help us in market research. We've used it in limited ways to evaluate qualitative transcripts and help pull out some of the findings when we're doing a ton of in-depth interviews. Really helpful in that way. It can be helpful to brainstorm. It can be helpful to rewrite questions in a way that a certain audience will be more likely to understand, or help come up with a reasonable list of answer categories in a quantitative question if you're not sure how to close it up. And I've seen, we haven't touched everything, but I've seen some other ideas around using it even in data tabulations, right? Banners, where it will pull out sort of the subgroup story and then actually link you to where in the tabs those subgroup differences are, so that you don't have to go through page by page to see if you have a difference by gender or a difference by generation. So again, I think it's a positive thing. I think we are, and I think a lot of our clients are approaching it in a very cautious way. The next trend I want to talk about is data quality. And actually, this tangentially touches AI as well. But I think this has been going on now more than a couple of years, but it's really hitting a head where it's becoming very, very difficult to get high quality quantitative data using panels. And I'm not blaming the panels for this. I think the commoditization of research over the last 15 years plus has really made it difficult to build and maintain quality panels. I think the fact that we send out these surveys that are long and boring and ask difficult questions contributes to the issue. But at the end of the day, panels are just struggling to fight to make sure that they're eliminating fraud, that they make sure that the people in their panels are who they say they are. And unfortunately, AI is contributing to that, right? So in the past year, sometimes we've looked at verbatims, open ends, and said, there's no way. It's the best open end I've ever seen. There's no way a human wrote that in a survey. And unfortunately, AI rates really good open ends, which used to be one of our best tools to clean out data and to kind of optimize data quality. But there's also AI that can help weed out AI in your data. The best way we're dealing with this issue is being very careful about who we work with per panel. We've been working with sources that verify their panelists, making sure they are who they're supposed to be in different ways. It costs a little bit more, but in our view, it's definitely worth it. The third trend I want to talk about, and again, this is not new, but we're seeing it as one of the sort of solutions to the data quality issue. And that is the use of communities, kind of structured communities, often branded, a set number of people who are recruited to participate in research. Obviously, there's disadvantages, right? It costs a lot to build it, to maintain it. You're going to the same source repeatedly. But given the data quality issues we're seeing with panel sample, it does help to make sure that you have a high qualified, verified group of people that you know are legitimate, participating in your research engagements. And we're actually, keep an eye out, because Zeldis is going to be doing a webinar in the next couple months about communities and kind of about the range that you can do, right? It doesn't have to be an all-in, 6-figure or 7-figure investment to create this huge community. There's a spectrum, right? That's on one end, and on the other end, you can do smaller qualitative forums of people, and everything in between, right? So we're going to be doing a webinar kind of on the different options when it comes to the community approach, but it's certainly something that, a lot of the bigger corporations had been doing it for a long time, but it's something that we're seeing more and more folks want to dip their toe into. And the last thing I want to talk about is thought leadership. Again, not something that's new. And all of this, is with the filter that Zeldis Research has. We work primarily in the insurance and financial services spaces. And so, with that lens, what we're seeing is insurance and financial services companies sort of realizing that offering, best-in-class products and services, not always enough to differentiate themselves in the market. And so we're seeing more and more of them want to contribute in a broader way to the market, with thought leadership, with kind of high-level knowledge, especially when they're trying to win over a B2B audience, like advisors or insurance agents or employers. So they're making a more focused effort to provide thought leadership in their space, to kind of be seen at the forefront, to contribute to the market at large. And really, it's been kind of interesting. We've seen some really interesting things. We have more and more folks talking about wanting to be a part of that, wanting to be seen at the forefront of their industry. We've been lucky enough to partner on a couple over the last year or so. We worked with FINRA and the CFA Institute to produce a study about Gen Z and investing, which was really exciting and interesting. You can find it on our website. We also worked with Equitable on a study about women and how relationship impacts financial perceptions and behavior. Again, you can look for that on our website, but we've seen this more and more, and we've seen more and more companies, even not the, biggest top tier, but across the board, want to show their expertise to a broader audience. So those are some of the things that we've seen more and more across the different markets that we work in. Would love to hear in comments kind of what you've seen, whether you agree or disagree, other directions that you're seeing. But thanks again for listening to another Zeldis Buzz podcast.